People who sleep naked, when has it backfired? I used to sleep naked. Now I own a cat. Those two overlapped for only a week. Yeah, morning wood and cats don't mix. One time they attack it and you'll sleep with shorts on after that. Penis equals scratching post for cats. This has happened to me before, when both cats decided that would be a good wake-up call. I had a closet-sized single dorm room, and people would always pull the fire alarm in the middle of the night, and we'd all have to go outside. One time I was so drowsy I just walked out instinctively and halfway down the hall I raced back. Thankfully this was an old building, so I didn't get locked out of the room. Either I'll burn, or I'll make it out alive, but I'm going to wear pants. My buddy's apartment burned down a few years ago. It was already engulfed by the time he woke up. His arms, upper back, and ears got pretty fucked up running out of it in his t-shirt. Still pretty purple to this day. He took a few seconds to put on his work pants and boots. It probably saved his life, definitely saved his junk. Something pretty close happened to me. I was in bed, naked, and one of my dogs poked me with his nose, which means he either has to poop or barf, so even though I was settled in for the night, I got up, put on my bathrobe, and walked outside with both my dogs. I live in a canyon in the foothills, at the top of a hill. We get coyotes a lot, so going out with the dogs off the leash at night wasn't very bright. One of my dogs caught sight of a coyote at the bottom of the hill and took off after it. I have two dogs, one floppy, loving and dumb, and one pointy, lean and a little aloof. Floppy dog is the one that took off after the coyote, but pointy dog didn't really notice as he was busy doing his thing. So I go running after floppy dog down my driveway, which points in the other direction, but the hill is too steep to go down in nothing but sandals and a bathrobe. As I go floundering past, robe blowing in the breeze like a majestic cape, pointy dog finally notices. He's lean, he's black, he's fast, and a mysterious mix of German Shepherd and something else that makes him look a lot like Anubis. Anyway, at this point the coyotes, there must be a half dozen of them, are all yipping and howling, and floppy dog has gone completely silent. I'm convinced they've nabbed her, even though she's bigger than most coyotes. So pointy dog takes off. And I've never seen him move like that, not him or any dog. He poured over the edge of the driveway like he was made out of liquid. All I could see was a black streak, a blacker than the night bolt of dogness arrowing down the canyon to the rescue of his pal and packmate. He's never run that fast before. He was made of speed. He disappeared into the bushes after floppy dog, and the yowling and clamor of the coyotes goes up to an even more fevered pitch, but I don't hear anything at all from either of my dogs. I'm running as fast I can, lost one sandal, my robe is flying, and I'm absolutely butt naked underneath. I'm calling for my dogs. Terrified. There are a lot of coyotes in the brush at the bottom of the canyon. Out of the darkness floppy dog appeared. She runs up to me and curls up against my legs and I can't disentangle myself from her to keep running. She's trembling, but still silent. I'm calling for the pointy dog. Blink. Blink, and trying to unstick floppy dog. I've got one hand on her collar, half dragging her down to the arroyo, but it's slow going because she doesn't want to go. Suddenly the coyote clamor goes down a notch and pointy dog comes loping out of the darkness back up the hill. He doesn't stop, doesn't look at me, just trots back up the hill, up the driveway, never looks back, and goes and sits by the door until floppy dog and I catch up to let him in. Never seen him move like that since either. Just that once, when he had to face down a whole pack of coyotes and rescue his packmate. I locked myself out of my flat whilst sleepwalking one. My girlfriend was on holidays, so I had to wait until morning, borrow a towel off a neighbor, and then walk about a mile up the road to the estate agent to get a spare key. I would have lent more than a towel, geez. I would give them my nicest please never return these to me outfit. A few years ago, I was working a night shift and had just returned home at 7 a.m. I was so tired that I didn't close the front door properly. After I activated the house alarm, I went to my room and undressed myself and went to bed. I wake up to the alarm blaring and I look around my room as I hear yelling. I see there are two female cops in the house with their guns out and one of them was pointing it at me. I'm half asleep and not really understanding what was going on. The officer asked if I lived here, to which I said yes. Then she ordered me to show her my ID. My ID, which was in my wallet, was on my dresser. I pointed her to where my wallet was. She ordered me to show it to her, and I said I couldn't get up because I was naked under my blanket. So, while still pointing her gun at me, she opened up my wallet. After that, the cops left, and, after securing the front door properly, I went back to sleep. My favorite part is that two trained professionals found it conceivable, and even probable, that someone broke in to take a morning nap like Goldilocks. I normally don't do this, but one summer night I had a meal from my local Mexican place that I love. Since I was busy that day, I didn't have lunch and decided to get significantly more than what I normally order to cure the hangry. I also did not get an opportunity to poop that day. Since it was unusually hot, that night I decided to ditch everything and sleep bare. After one very realistic dream of me on the toilet. Let's just say that I had to get a new set of bedsheets the next morning. Shit happens. I started somewhere in high school because of night sweats. In college I moved into an on-campus apartment alone, and the very next morning I woke up to 3 grown mid-50s dudes with their faces in my window. My bed was directly below the window. University housing gave some BS excuse about my window needing maintenance. Just my window specifically. None of the others in the entire complex. The window wasn't even designed to open. I think they were being pigs, but I was 1,000 miles away from anyone who cared about me and just let it go. Not me, but I was spending the night at my friend's house in a suburban neighborhood. In the middle of the night his mom had let their toy fox terrier out to go pee, and it got snatched by a coyote. She screamed and woke us all up. A wolf got noodle. Within 10 seconds his dad was sprinting out of the house completely butt-ass naked with a Glock in his hand and went running down the street. Came back about 15 minutes later with the dog and obviously still completely naked. Edit, it's come to my attention that this isn't exactly a backfire, but I think anything that causes you to run around your neighborhood naked should qualify. Not all heroes wear capes. Or clothes. Oddly enough, my stepdad sleeps completely naked, and one night in HS my brother's GF was leaving, and when they left his room they noticed a stove was sparking on fire. They yelled that the kitchen was on fire, and the next thing you see is my stepdad sprinting out from his bedroom towards the kitchen completely naked, except for his robe that he had thrown on, which was fluttering behind him like a cape.